Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the King of Lightning here today, bringing you guys and gals some One Piece WA news. Now, this came out 2 days ago, and it is fairly intriguing because it is Ichiro Oda talking about the reason why the One Piece series is as long as it is. And apparently, in his mind, the culprit is the Shichibukai. Now, before we get to that, I do want to talk about where this particular news comes from. This comes from an individual by the name of Sandman. And Sandman is a member of the Arlong Park Forums, also known as the AP Forums. And he had a translation of the 23rd log of One Piece. Oda talks about the Shichibukai and the length of the One Piece series. Now, I do want to say that there has been, as far as I know, there's been no major articles on this on the sites that I use, like Anime News Network or Crunchyroll, but I will believe this because Sandman has, as far as I understand, a lot of credibility as a translator. He lives in Japan. He has translated a lot of stuff in the past when it comes to Japanese to English One Piece translations. When it comes to the Arlong Park Forums themselves, has a very long thread, and a lot of folks vouch for his credibility. Folks on my Discord vouch for his credibility. So I'm gonna take it at face value and believe that Sandman's translations of the 23rd log of One Piece were in fact accurate. So here we have his Twitter, and again, all links will be in the box below to the forum as well as the Twitter post that he had on his Twitter. And on his Twitter, he says this: "Here's my translation for Oda's comment about Shichibukai in One Piece 23rd log, which is released today, August 24th. So here's the comment that he translated. Oda says this: "I haven't finished One Piece yet despite the 20-year serialization. The main reason is these guys, Shichibukai. At first, I intended to finish One Piece in 5 years. It was supposed to be a story to fight against pirates called Yonko. However, I came up with the idea of Shichibukai. I just thought it would be badass if these characters showed up. Then, as you can see, it caused this long serialization. Then I continue, why didn't I make them the Gobukai or Nibukai, which Go is 5 in Japanese, Ni is 2 in Japanese, and Shichi, as in Shichibukai, means 7 in Japanese. In short, Oda is saying that he should have reduced the number of Shichibukai. I thought 7 was a cool number. That being said, I don't regret it since I drew what I wanted. I'm regretting it a bit." So that last little segment right there, when Oda says, "That being said, I don't regret it since I drew what I wanted," and then he says, "I'm regretting it a bit," that, I think, is Oda just putting some comedy there. That I don't think is going to be taken serious. I don't think that he regrets drawing the Shichibukai at all, especially cats like Boa Hancock, Mihawk, Bartholomew Kuma. I doubt that he regrets drawing them at all. But the system itself, the Shichibukai, he's saying is the main reason why this series is as long as it is. Now, if the series had gone the way Oda had planned it to go, the Yonko would have been the main adversaries when Luffy and company got to the Grand Line in the first place. So in this case, if we erase, let's say, Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard from the Yonko, and let's have Shanks be one of the Yonko, because Shanks was always a character in One Piece since Jump, and then we throw in, let's say, Mihawk, we throw in Crocodile, and then someone else, like let's say Boa Hancock or Bartholomew Kuma, they would have been the main adversaries for the Straw Hats to face against when they hit the Grand Line. And after the Yonko were defeated or they were taken out, then let's say you have some stuff involving Luffy's dad, and then you have like the Marine stuff, and that'll be in the series, essentially. And then you find the One Piece and so on and so forth. So in that sense, it's more so because the Yonko were elevated to where they are now in this series, to where they dominate the new world, as opposed to being the first adversaries, the first major adversaries that the Straw Hats face, because you have Zoro against Mihawk, and we saw what Mihawk did to Zoro, and Zoro understood right then and there how big the world was from the standpoint of ferocious fighters, and on top of that, him trying to achieve his dream. So when you introduce this new system of pirates that work for the Marine / world government, and then they have orders to sometimes get in the way of Luffy or Luffy's rivals, something of that sort, that's going to impede the journey of the Straw Hats. Oda had to write in things here and there involving the Shichibukai because they have massive weight in the story. Bartholomew Kuma, he did what he did in Thriller Bark. He has ties to Monkey D. Dragon, big ties. And on top of that, he lost his mind but he protected the Sunny Go for 2 years. You have Flamingo, who in Dressrosa we found like the full scope of his weight in the world itself. You have Mihawk, who is the greatest swordsman in the world, and we know his weight to the story. But Hancock, you go down the list, the Shichibukai themselves have a lot of weight to the story, and that's to be fully fleshed out. And in doing so, and trying to flesh out these character stories of the Shichibukai, and then making that work with other characters, especially the main characters of the story, that apparently had brought the 5 years that Oda wanted to write the story into the 20 plus years it is now, which is kind of insane, but at the same time, I can understand why that's the case. Because now we have the actual Yonko, and then their stories have to be fleshed out, then they need to be finalized, and so on and so forth until the series can actually end. And then probably there's going to be even more stuff afterwards, because there's going to be the final war at the end of it all, and then some stuff maybe after that. So essentially, the Shichibukai, they added a lot more depth to the story than I guess Oda first perceived. And as a result of that, 5 years becomes 20 plus years and ongoing. Otherwise, by now, and I can't really say 5 years given Oda's pace, I would say probably like, let's say 10 years. 10 years, the story would have been done with the Yonko being defeated at the Grand Line, and then Luffy being Pirate King, and then however Oda wanted to end the story. Now let me say a few more things in this addendum to the video. Number one, the fact that Ichiro Oda, he didn't want to make the Shichibukai the Gobukai, or the Nibukai, or the Sambukai. The fact that he wanted to stick with just the 7 Shichibukai like that, I think is a little bit funny. Because it's simply because the name Shichibukai sounds cool that we have 7 of them, as opposed to 4, as opposed to 3 or 5. For the sake of the story's length, would it have made more sense to shorten it down to 4 or 3? Absolutely. But because Shichibukai sounds cooler, boom, he has 7 warlords. Like, I like that. Like, Oda made a decision like that simply because the name Shichibukai sounded cooler. That's number one. And then on top of that, we do have to be grateful for Oda coming up with the Shichibukai if you are a current One Piece reader and you have followed the series for years. And the reason why I say grateful is because one of the main reasons why the series is so popular, not only from a volume sales standpoint, but also from a weekly viewership and from an ongoing anime and that kind of stuff, is because of the length of the series. One Piece continues to go on, and it continues to go on strong. Albeit the length of the series has also put off a lot of cats from continuing reading One Piece, or to even start reading One Piece, because a series that's this long, that's like 870 some odd chapters long and like 700 plus episodes long, of course that's going to be very intimidating. So the length of a series does come with its own setbacks as well. But what I'm talking about here is just one of a multitude of factors that has led to the success of One Piece. And the reason why things like the New World and the scope of certain arcs like Marineford War and the scope of the world being as big as it is when you have people and freaks like Whitebeard, like Blackbeard, like Shanks, like Bigu, Mamu, like Kaido, who just fell. The reason why you have the grandiose of the One Piece series now is because of the Shichibukai's existence. The Shichibukai, as powerful as they are just a stone in the middle of the road compared to the mountain that are the Yonko. Potentially Monkey D. Dragon. Potentially. No one knows for sure, but potentially. And so when you consider the fact that arcs like Alabasta, like Dressrosa, are long arcs, and they went on for years, Dressrosa mainly, the centerpiece villain of these arcs are Shichibukai, and Shichibukai alone. If not for the Shichibukai existing in the way they are in the story, the story's popularity, the story's viewership, the story's scope on honestly the nation of Japan, because we've seen in various ways how One Piece has affected Japan when it comes to cafes, when it comes to like trains, that kind of stuff. The scope of the series One Piece would not be as great as it is today. That's just facts. And according to Oda saying in this particular comment, because the series is this long, due to the Shichibukai's existence, we gotta be grateful in some way, shape, or form. Us current One Piece readers and viewers, we should be grateful for the existence of the Shichibukai. So that is the One Piece 23rd log translation, once again done by Sandman. There'll be links in the box below to his Twitter, as well as the Arlong Park thread, where this is discussed as well. And here's a picture of what I believe is a part of the One Piece 23rd log. And again, the translation of this on the forum. So those two links will be in the box below. Let me know your thoughts on the matter at hand. I think it's fairly intriguing. Like, I like how it's the Shichibukai that gave the story so much depth, where it was phase 1 of the story, East Blue, you have these adversaries that are local. Phase 2 of the story, Grand Line, where we have a much bigger scope, where you have the Shichibukai, you have the admirals, and so on and so forth. Phase 3 of the story, you have the Yonko, like the top tier dudes, who initially were supposed to be the top end tier pirates and some of the main adversaries in Phase 2. However, because the Shichibukai replaced them in Phase 2, Phase 3 now is the Yonko. You have the New World. The Yonko proving that they are the top of the top. So that being said, I am done. King of Lightning, once again, give me your thoughts on the matter at hand. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do, especially when you all have a device called ZayMouseU. You use ZayMouseU to click, rate the video, to click on that bell to join the squad. You click on that subscription button to subscribe, and of course, comment in the comment section down below. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day.